What's up guys, my name is Jeremy. Welcome to a Diablo 3 Season 13 Patch 2.6.1 Demon Hunter build guide. This time we're going to be deep diving the Shadow Impale Demon Hunter. It's a build that I've personally found to be a lot of fun to play. It's sort of frantic, fast-paced, lots of snap decision making. It's an elite hunter build, but it hits like a freight train, and it's super tanky. It's relatively easy to gear for, and super easy to play, surprisingly. With very minimal effort, I've managed to clear a GR 96 in 12 minutes and 38 seconds. I'm currently number 350 on the solo leaderboard, and it's just a ton of fun to play, bouncing around, throwing knives at everything, sort of like a ninja. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to cover the gear you need. We're going to cover the Paragon points, your legendary gems, the stats you want on your gear, and as always we'll leave a rift clear at the end of the video so y'all can get an idea of the gameplay. And remember guys, mash that like button, mash that subscribe button, hit it so hard you leave a crater. Something I say rings your bell, go ahead and ring mine back, turn on that notification icon, and be one of the first to know when new content is available. So let's get into our set. We'll be taking all 6 pieces of the Shadow's Mantle set: the head, shoulders, chest, hands, legs, and feet. Our 2 set, while equipped with a melee weapon, your damage is increased by 1200%. The 4 set, Shadow Power, gains the effect of every rune and lasts forever. Our 6 set, Impale, deals an additional 50,000% weapon damage to the first enemy hit. So absolute freight train. Our jewelry slots will be taken up with the Endless Walk set, the Traveler's Pledge Amulet, and Compass Rose Ring. While moving, damage taken is decreased by up to 50%. And while standing still, damage dealt is increased by up to 100%, which plays in perfectly with the play style of the build. As you're vaulting around from elite pack to elite pack, you stop on the outside and start throwing your knives. For our other ring, we'll be using the Convention of Elements, gain up to 200% increased damage to a single element for 4 seconds. This effect rotates through the elements available to your class in the order of Arcane, Cold, Fire, Holy, Lightning, Physical, and Poison. Our belt is the Chain of Shadows. After using Impale, Vault costs no resource for 2 seconds. Our wrists are the Strong Arm Bracers. Enemies hit by knockbacks suffer 24% or up to 30% increased damage for 6 seconds. Sorry, I'm reading my tooltips and not the max. Our weapon is the Carly's Point Dagger. The damage of Impale is increased by up to 375%. And it returns 15 hatred if it hits an enemy already impaled. So as long as you can hit something more than once, you never have to worry about resource ever again. You can just spam your knives, spam your knives, spam your knives, and there I'm running myself out. Our quiver is the Holy Point Shot. Impale throws 2 additional knives. So for our legendary gems, we're using Gogok of Swiftness. You gain swiftness with every attack, increasing your attack speed by 1% and dodge by a percentage for 4 seconds. This effect stacks up to 15 times. Rank 25 affix grants 1% cooldown reduction per stack of swiftness. We're using Bane of the Trapped because it's Bane of the Trapped. It's a melee build, and we're going to be all up in everything's grill, guys, so this gem is absolutely perfect for us. Increase the damage against enemies under the effects of control impairing effects by a percentage, and it procs itself with the rank 25 affix. Gain an aura that reduces the movement speed of enemies within 15 yards by 30%. Our 3rd legendary gem is the Pain Enhancer. Critical hits cause the enemy to bleed for a percentage of weapon damage as physical over 3 seconds. Rank 25 affix gain Blood Frenzy, granting you 3% increased attack speed for each bleeding enemy within 20 yards. And this is a huge multiplier, and it plays in perfectly with our skills. I'm using Impale with the Cold rune over Penetration. The knife pierces through all enemies in a straight line for cold damage. The other option for this slot is the lightning rune Ricochet, which causes the knife to ricochet to 2 additional nearby enemies within 20 yards of each other. I've found this rune to work perfectly for T13 speed farming, for lower end greater rifts all the way up into the 80s, but at that point, due to the scaling mob health and elite health, you'll probably want to switch to overpenetration. The rune you choose for Shadow Power is pretty much cosmetic, since the 4 set gives us the movement slow on enemies from Nightbane, the double life per hit from Blood Moon, the reduced discipline cost from Well of Darkness, damage reduction from Gloom, and increased movement speed from Shadow Glide. And the skill itself, draw in the power of shadows, gaining 26,821 life per hit for 5 seconds, and the life per hit is increased by 25% of your life per kill. And I actually chose the one that gives me the blue shadow wings because it matches with my vengeance, and the shadow character just looks so freaking cool. For one of our defensive skills, we're using Fan of Knives, and you're thinking, how is that defensive? The Bladed Armor rune is the answer to that one. You throw knives out in a spiral around you, dealing 620% weapon damage as cold to all enemies within 20 yards. Your knives will also slow the movement speed of the enemies by 60% for 1 second, and the Bladed Armor rune grants 40% additional armor for 6 seconds. To proc our strong arm bracers, we're using Vault with the Rattling Roll rune. Try saying that 5 times fast. Tumble acrobatically for 35 yards. Enemies you vault through are knocked away and stunned for 1.5 seconds. We're using Companion. I personally am using the Boar Companion for higher and greater rifts. The active ability, your boar charges to you and taunts all enemies within 20 yards for 5 seconds. The passive summons a Boar Companion that attacks enemies for 50% of your weapon damage as physical. And it also increases your and your party's life regen by 10,728 and resistance to all elements by 20%. So it's just a little bit of added toughness. If you want to go more glass cannon, you can go for the Wolf Companion, whose active ability grants you 15% increased damage. And of course, what Demon Hunter build would be complete without Vengeance? Turn into the physical embodiment of Vengeance for 20 seconds. This gives you side guns, homing rockets, and a flat 40% damage increase. Now I am using the Lightning Elemental Dark Heart rune, which reduces all damage taken by 50%. For the passives, we're running Numbing Traps. Enemies you slow, chill, or hit with Fan of Knives, Spike Trap, Caltrops, Grenades, and Sentry Fire have their damage reduced by 25% for 5 seconds. Cold Weak, increased damage against slowed or chilled enemies by 20%. Awareness is the Demon Hunter cheat death. When you receive fatal damage, you instead vanish for 2 seconds and regenerate 50% of maximum life on a 60-second internal cooldown. And we're running Ambush. You deal 40% additional damage to enemies above 75% health. Now for our Kanai's Cube powers, we're using Dawn, which reduces the cooldown of Vengeance by 65%. Since we no longer have to worry about resource management because of our dagger, we can safely use the Aquila Cuirass. While above 90% primary resource, all damage taken is reduced by 50%. And our jewelry slot will be taken by the Elusive Ring after casting Shadow Power, Smokescreen, or Vault. Takes 60% reduced damage for 8 seconds. Right, for our Paragon points, in your core you're going to want to max out your movement speed to 25%, then dump everything else into Dexterity. You could go for maximum Hatred if you wanted to, but thanks to our dagger, again, it's not really necessary, and you'll get more damage out of your main stat. For offense, you want to max out attack speed, then cooldown reduction, and crit chance and crit damage. For defense, you want to max out all resist, armor, life percent, then life regen. And for utility, area damage, resource reduction, life per hit, and gold find. Now as for the stats you want on your gear, for your head, the ideal roll would be dexterity, crit chance, and impale damage, and a socket with a diamond in there. For your shoulders, the perfect roll would be dexterity, all resist, area damage, and cooldown reduction. For your chest, dexterity, vitality, all resist. For your hands, dexterity, attack speed, crit damage, crit chance. For your belt, dexterity, vitality, all resist, and life percent. The jewelry slots are open to a little bit of debate. If you wanted to go for permanent uptime on your fan of knives, you would have to reach around 40% CDR. So you could actually go for crit cooldown on both of your rings and the cooldown roll on your shoulders. That, with your Paragon points and the Gogok of Swiftness at max stacks, should put you right around that 40%. If you're just going for permanent uptime on Vengeance though, you only need the CDR from your Paragon points, one roll on another piece of gear, and then you can go for more offensive stats on your rings. So my rings are dexterity, crit damage, crit chance, and a socket. For your amulet, an ideal roll would be elemental damage of choice, crit damage, crit chance, and a socket. For your bracers, you would want elemental damage of choice, dexterity, vitality, and crit chance. For your legs, dexterity, vitality, all resist. For your feet, dexterity, vitality, all resist, impale damage. For your weapon, an ideal roll would be elemental damage of choice, percent damage, dexterity, and attack speed. For your offhand, elemental damage of choice, dexterity, attack speed, crit chance, and impale damage. And that about wraps up this guide. I want to thank you guys again for taking the time out of your day to watch my video. I promise to keep them coming. If there's a build you want to see me do a guide over, let me know in the comments below and I will get to work on it as soon as possible. I have a lot of fun doing this kind of content, and I hope this helps out some of the newer or returning or even seasoned players out there. So once again, thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful day. Peace.
Okay. Fuck everyone else. Gotta remember that nobody's better than anyone else here. Do you need some time to think it over? Look what they do to you, look what they do to me. You must be joking if you think that either one is free here. Get up off your knees, girl. Stand face to face with your God. Find out what you are. Hello, my name is human. Hello, my name is human. Hey, and I came down from the stars. Hello, my name is human. I'm ready for love and I'm ready for war, but I'm ready for more. I know that nobody's ever been this fucking ready before. Hey. Do you need some time to think it over? So figure it out or don't figure it out. I figured it out. The bigger the river, the bigger the drought. Get up off your knees, boy. Stand face to face cornered in fire, so break out the secrets. I hope you know that you were worth it all along. I'm tired, you're angry, and everyone looks blurry. I love you, I'm leaving, so long. Hey,